Hello, welcome to Watercolour Answers. In today's class, we will focus on a misty tonal landscape. Nice and simple, where we'll look at a misty, milky atmosphere. We'll simplify the composition. We'll look at handling little trees in clumps, little blip, 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 little easy done. We'll also focus on a bit of glazing. We'll do some shadow work, and also, really big thing, a little bit of calligraphy goes a long way, so we'll check that out as well. I really hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. All right, I'm just starting the drawing process. I've got normal sheet. This is Baohong paper, cold pressed, so medium texture, and a 2B pencil. People ask about pencils. 2B or softer, pretty much. Just don't go using the light ones like your HBs and things, because they just end up scratching your paper and you can't see them, and they're just a bit too hard. 2B and lighter or softer, gets disappears in your wash a little bit, which is cool for later on. So I'm just going to do the drawing, just finding my horizon line. Roughly. And I'll get the star of the show in first. The star of the show is the house or the building. So I'll take a bit of care with that. Always just keep it simple though. You don't want to fuss over everything all the time. It's a bit of a funny roof, that one, because it's got this little awning on it. That's okay. It's roughly right. Use some trees to frame in the building. Once again, we're using our reference as a jumping off point. We're not slaves to it, are we? No, we're not. Composition wise, I want to make sure that these trees over this side go up a fair way, because I want them to kind of clash and throw each other off balance, off balance generally makes for a better composition. I'm not going to worry about all the little hay bales and things. It's no problem there. This is just a nice simple scene based on textures and atmosphere and mood. Not worried about details or anything like that. We're going to have a nice soft approach. Once you're happy with everything and roughly where things are, you can start just blocking them in a bit heavier if you want to. But don't go too crazy, because the actual painting itself, like the washes, are quite light, quite milky, so we don't want to have any funny, horrible edges going on later on. I'm not going to draw in the distant hill, because because it's going to be really light and soft. I don't want that hard pencil line interfering with any of that. So yes. So what I want to do is just kind of let it sit for a second. All good, ready to rock with it. And the kids are going crazy out there, so that's all right. Oh, there he goes. Oh, good old Henry boy. Excellent. They're not out there by themselves. Shez is out there with them, so all good. Now, I'm just going to spray, before I start mixing things, I'm just going to spray just at the top. And that's because I want a nice, smooth, flat wash. That spray just helps it take effect pretty quickly. All right. Here's some water. It's good to have a little sponge there next to your water. And that's so you can control the amount of moisture that's in your brush. Really, that's all it is. Now, I want a sort of a warm wash, really. So I've got a grey there from another painting. It's quite a cool grey. Put in a little bit of raw sienna and a tiny bit of orange. Ooh, too much orange. Ah, that's all right, actually. That's all right. And just to warm it up. That's good. So it's really watery because we want it to be a nice smooth wash. And with your smooth washes, all you want it to do is be painted fairly quickly, okay? So you want this wash to be quite light later on, because you don't want it to be nice and strong here, because you will lose the feeling of light in your painting if you go too strong here. You want it to be nice and subtle. The darkness and stuff happens around here, so you'll lose your light if you go too strong in your painting. In the wash. Let's have a look. We go straight down. I've just got water. And see how I'm going pretty quick. And speed is of the essence when you are painting these washes, because that's what gives it its smoothness. It's not about these nice even brush strokes, it's about the speed, so little bits don't dry. The only thing I want to cut around on this painting is the rooftop if I can. It's not a tragedy if we lose a bit of it, but just want to try to keep some of that. There we go. Cool. The rest of that's good. Good. Okay, happy there. Now, when we get down to the ground level, I'm going to warm it up again. Oh, a lot of burnt sienna there. There we go. It's all a wash. It's all just a nice big wash. Big fat washes. Beautiful. Warmth. What I like to do is get some cool stuff, fairly strong. What's this? Got a bit of ultramarine. That's, I haven't really mixed it. And just whack it in, let it do something. A little bit of it'll stay blue in the foreground, but that's okay. We plan to do a bit of a glaze over this later on and get some shapes and things anyway, so it's only going to be good. Really important time, this one, because I want to put that distant hill in this same step. Okay, I don't want to dry off and then have to re-wet it and then put the soft hill in. So I'm just sort of waiting a little bit of that for that sheen to come off the page, just a little bit. Then I'll go back in there and put this hill in. But I want to make it cooler. Now, cooler means that it will recede a bit further into the background. Warm colours tend to come forward, cool colours tend to recede. And I want the paint just a tiny bit thicker. So you're probably talking milky coffee consistency somewhere there. And I'm not worried about I'm not worried about the exact shape or anything like that from the reference. I'm just putting it in roughly how I remember it, and it'll do its thing. I'm hoping we get some nice atmosphere and nice softness. Okay, that's good. Nice bit of softness there. That's cool. Alright. Some of those lines, they should be alright. Should be alright as it comes forward and dries off. Not as it comes forward, but as it dries off, it'll settle down. So don't panic about any of those little lines that you might have there. Alright, good stuff. It's dry time now, so I'm going to dry it off, and I'd like to introduce you to Meatloaf. It's That's my hairdryer. And Meatloaf sounds horrible, and so does this. So here we go. Here's Meatloaf. Ugh. Like the bat out of hell of the dawn in the morning time. Yeah, right. So Meatloaf sounds terrible. But here we go. I'll mute the microphone so you don't have to listen to this. I just found out while I was drawing that, I was singing along. Singing Bat Out of Hell. And I realised that I remember all the words from when I was a kid. Far out. It's no good. Okay, just waiting for that to cool down a bit. It's always a good idea that when you use a hairdryer in your work to dry off, just wait for it to cool down a little bit before you get stuck in, because that'll throw off the speed of everything. Now, let's start distance to foreground again. You know, nothing fancy. But what I want to do, I just want to give it a bit of a spray along here because I want to do some soft stuff. Just there, that's it. Nothing more, nothing less than that. Just want to do a little bit of softness that'll indicate some of those distant trees and things that are there. That's all fine. It's a bit blue. That's all right. We'll grey it down. They'll disappear largely, but it'll just give us that extra little subtle layer of stuff. Yeah, cool. That's good. You don't see it all over this side, so you don't need to worry too much about over there. All right, trees. I'm going to start on the left-hand side. Because I'm right-handed, when I'm doing the main kind of stars of the show, so to speak, I tend to work left to right, just as if you're writing on a page, just purely so you don't mess everything up as you go through. So if you're left-handed, do the opposite. Okay. All right. So this foliage, this clumpy foliage that we've got here, it's quite strong, which is good. That gives us that contrast and that mood. But we need to. There's a way to paint this kind of thing without it being boring, because it's a big patch of just bleh stuff there. The tendency is just to copy that and go put a blob there. But you don't want that. You want something a bit nicer. And I'll show you a couple of ways you can do it. This, over the course of different tutorials, we'll do different techniques here. So I've just got this same warmth. It's actually the sky colour, believe it or not. But I'm going to get a little bit of orangey stuff going in. So I've got the brush, and I'm just sort of, the end of the brush is just going a bit gnarly. That's good. That's what we want, see? Just to get some lines and marks that aren't symmetrical and nice. We want some scraggly stuff. And we leave a few more sky holes than we think we should. For little birdies to fly through, as they all say. Alright. There we go. Now that's just a bit of blue. I'll just put a bit of blue in there just to darken up that grey that I've got on the palette. And just putting it around a bit. There we go. We'll sit it down on the deck now. That's fine. Oh, a bit of water down there. That's cool. There's a bleeding into that. Good stuff. Embrace the accidents. Embrace the things that you didn't expect. You can do that. The sooner you can do that, the sooner you'll progress with your painting, because you won't get stuck. You won't go, oh shit, I didn't realise that was going to happen. Oh, sorry. And you try and fix it. And it doesn't look any good. It looks fine. Look at that. It's cool. It'll look better if you don't, quote unquote, fix it. Right. Just got a rigger here. There's no paint in there, but a bit of water. But all I'm going to do is just start to move some of the existing paint around to give us a few branches and whatnot. That's all. nothing major, nothing going on that's crazy here. That's it. Don't care that that's running. Good, because this is going to be nice glaze over this later on. There'll be a bit of a shadow. One thing I do want to do though, do want to just get a dark in here somewhere. Just darken that up a bit. It's always good to have sort of darkness at the base of your trees and a couple of little bits on the way up. You don't always have to use like a grey, like that's a purple I'm putting in there now. That's just mixing with the stuff that's there. So it's greying itself down as it mixes on the paper. So it's good. Schnosh. There you go. Lovely. All right. Trees dune on that side. So I'm going to go over to this side just to make sure it balances out. So I'll do it while I'm in the zone with that stuff. Same washes. But I don't want to go up as high. Don't be tempted to try and match it over here. That's the whole point. Throwing things off balance. It's good compositionally. Bit of orange in there. I did a workshop this week, and 3-day workshop, and the amount of and everyone realised that, oh, you don't have to use every colour in your palette all the time. Most of the time, for the entire 3 days, they were variations of grey, burnt sienna and ultramarine, little mixtures of that, and that's what a lot of painting is. We see things in shades of grey. No, I don't mean that crap movie. Book even. Okay, let's have a look. Bit of darkness there. Cool. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to dry this off, just because I don't want it to get away on me. I'm going to dry it off, both of these, and come back to it. We'll just bring things forward, and then we'll get stuck into the house. Now, quick tip. When you're drying off things like this, when you've got pools and little puddles, be careful. Okay, so we're just starting to move things a bit forward, like, bring things forward in our composition, and we're doing that just purely tonally. So we've got some distant hill, we've got the distant trees there, smoke and whatnot that's going on, and we'll put a couple of little darker patches in there that bring it forward even more. And I've just got some sort of thicker paint on my brush, but just not much of it on there, just so I can start getting a few little broken bits. Okay. As we come over here, trees are always a really good thing to frame in your rooftops and stuff. Just be careful not to make the shape of your trees like form a halo. We don't want to form a border around it, but yeah, they're a good thing for bringing things out, but just do it carefully. It'll be right. purple. All I'm using colour-wise here is a lot of different greys. This connects in, so see everything's sort of connecting through. Go. Nice. A skill in watercolour is, because we don't have the luxury of just being able to literally just fix something. A skill in watercolour is knowing that as soon as you've done something, as soon as it's right and it's ready, leave it alone. Okay? So that's something you've got to constantly work on, just to evaluate. Look at your paintings as you go through. Look at the whole thing, whole picture, all the time. You don't want to just concentrate on this and move on, move on, move on. You want to keep an eye on the whole thing, make sure it's all working together. And when you see something's doing what it should, don't touch it anymore. Just don't even get tempted to go in and go, ooh, it's fun, so we'll keep going. Be subtle and be thoughtful about that. It takes a while to get used to, and it doesn't completely leave you out. We've got a tendency in us to all want to fiddle all the time, and unless we can do that, the better. Let's have a look. What do we got there? Just going to make a bit of burnt sienna, plus whatever rubbish is hanging around the palette. And we're just defining that roof line a bit. You can see it's starting to do its thing. And I always, whenever I've got buildings and things, I always just do a few little lines here and there at the base, just to sit them down on the ground a bit, so that it don't look like they're floating all the time. See them down there. That's nice. With that, and then this little bit here. Do another little bit of grey. Just be careful of your brush work. Try to leave your highlights and things. I've got nothing against using white paint or gouache to rescue something later on, but you want to try and minimise it if you can. But yeah, there are people out there that are really freaky about that stuff, so try not to upset them. But yeah, the less you need to use it, the better. Just looks fresher. So while this is damp, I've got thick paint. See that? Pretty thick little bit of paint on my brush, and it's just dark. It's like a purple or something. And I'm not looking at the reference to see where photos are. I don't think you could see it if you wanted to, but just putting in a couple of little dots and dashes to indicate a window and a bit of shade under that awning, that eave there. And we'll leave that building alone for a little bit. That'll do its thing. And while I've got the darker paint going, I've got some neutral tint, and there are a couple of shapes over here. Now I don't know what these things are. Probably it looks like a shed or something. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just a shape. It just indicates, farm equipment or something. I don't know. It's just that little bit of darkness there, which is nice. And there's a cattle ramp or something there. There's something, whatever. It's just to give it a bit of activity and movement. That's all it is.